Armenia became a platform for the youth of the world and hosted more than 150 parliamentarians from 60 countries. The 10th Global Conference of Young Parliamentarians of the Inter-Parliamentary Union started in Yerevan. The theme of this year's annual conference is Avoiding Lost Generations, Preserving Education and Employment in All Circumstances. The geography of the Inter-Parliamentary Union is extensive, 180 countries from different parts of the world. Armenia has been a member of the structure since 1995 and has a steady position. This is facilitated by parliamentary diplomacy, close partnership ties, and the consistent work of the NA President with the international partner structure. Alen Simonian is the head of the RANA delegation in the Inter-Parliamentary Union. The agreement to hold the Global Conference of Young Parliamentarians in Yerevan was reached on March 22 of this year in Geneva, when the NA President participated in the 148th Assembly of the Inter-Parliamentary Union. The head of the parliament of our country, Alen Simonian, and the Secretary General of the structure, Martin Chungong, signed an agreement regarding the holding of the conference. Armenia is ready to host young MPs at a high level, the NA President stated in Geneva.
Thank you very much.
The NA staff was also involved in the organizational work in all directions. All the details were planned and discussed with the structure in advance. The venue of the meeting, the arrival and reception of the guests, simultaneous translation, necessary technical solutions for the organization and coverage of the work of the sessions, installation of information panels and flags in the capital, and a number of agenda items. The initial ideas and the impressions gathered in Yerevan completely align. The guests who came to our country mentioned, for many of the young parliamentarians of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, Armenia was revealed in its own way. We were already enjoying the warm Armenian reception starting from the airport, the delegate state. We received a warm welcome from the first moment we entered your country. Armenia has a very good history, and I'm glad that the global conference is being held in this wonderful country.
This is a good platform for young people. I value cooperation and the Jubilee session in Armenia. Your country has a beautiful culture. From the viewpoint of uniting the youth, it is very important to be able to cooperate and work together, strengthening democracy from all perspectives.
Armenia is one of the countries with the youngest parliamentarians in the world, and it was interesting to come and see what progress has been made in terms of the development of democracy. Armenia and France have strong ties. We always support Armenia in difficult situations. Armenia is our neighboring country. We have strong ties. Although I am in your country for the first time, the reception was so warm as if I have been here for a long time. The members of the government of Armenia, associated delegates of the structure, experts, representatives of local and international prestigious organizations attended the 10th Jubilee Conference. The official opening of the conference uniting the young MPs of the world was started with the arrival of the RA Prime Minister and the President of the National Assembly. The leading figures of our country and the leadership of the Inter-Parliamentary Union are in the presidency of the conference. The NA President of our country welcomed the participants from the Armenian podium of the conference. Alen Simonian presented the history of the initiative to hold the forum in Armenia and described September 12 as memorable.
It is memorable in the sense that such a representation event of the Inter-Parliamentary Union is being held for the first time in our country. A few years ago, Mr. Martin Chungong started the initiative. I say yes to youth in parliaments, which the heads of parliaments of the member countries and MPs joined, including me.
According to the Inter-Parliamentary Union, 30-year-old MPs make up only 2.86% of parliamentarians worldwide. The Parliament of Armenia is also exceptional in terms of the involvement of young MPs and is considered a pioneer in the structure.
We are proud to note the fact that after the Velvet Non-Violent People's Revolution of 2018, young MPs are the majority in the National Assembly of Armenia today. Moreover, according to the results of the study conducted by the Inter-Parliamentary Union, the RA National Assembly ranks first in terms of the number of young MPs. This circumstance also played an important role in our decision to hold the conference in Yerevan.
Speaking about the discussions regarding the education and employment of young people, the NA president underscored that these are issues that never lose their relevance. Alain Simonian stressed that brave and knowledgeable youth is needed today more than ever.
You, the youth, should be ready to take the lead and take an active part in the development of your country. Your knowledge and skills must become your most powerful tools.
The Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan addressed the participants of the conference and spoke about the involvement of young people in politics and reminded them of the most important thing. Formulas for combining ability and knowledge should be discussed at the conference. The Prime Minister Pashinyan also shared the experience of the government of Armenia and the political team he leads.
There is no problem that cannot be solved through education. This kind of problem doesn't exist. There is no problem the origin of which isn't related to lack of education or low quality of education. We discuss poverty, which is a global problem including in the Republic of Armenia. And we are also sometimes criticized for that. But my conviction is that one of the main causes of poverty lies in education.
Conditioned by the above, 3 cornerstone projects are being implemented in Armenia, Nikol Pashinyan underlined.
One is the plan to build, renovate and overhaul 300 schools. The second is the plan to build, renovate or overhaul 500 kindergartens. And the third is the academic city plan, which deals with higher education, science and research.
At the end of his speech, Nikol Pashinyan expressed hope that the participants will return to their countries from this conference full of new energy. According to the Prime Minister, this is the platform that demonstrates global stability, peace and development. It should be noted that the first session of the Yerevan conference was chaired by the member of the IPU board of the Forum of Young Parliamentarians, the delegate of our country, Hasmik Hakopian. The conference is taking place at a time when there are conflicts and various crises in different parts of the world, so it is necessary to form a common platform to face and overcome them, the MP notes and adds. It is important that a country share their experience, how they find solutions during different crises, how was their best experience, what proposals they make, what programs they implement in their countries. Speaking about our interests, we have the opportunity to present our programs. It is also a great opportunity to talk about crises. At the opening session of the conference, the president of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, Yerevan, addressing the delegates, noted that the conference has become a good platform where young MPs will voice the following. There can be no democracy without inclusiveness. There can be no inclusiveness without the participation of young men and women. Along with the substantive discussions, Ms. Yerevan emphasized the efforts made by Armenia in this conference. We thank Armenia for its commitment to dialogue. I can confidently say that Armenia succeeded in terms of holding and efficiency of the conference. We hope that the next conference of young parliamentarians will be held as effectively. The problem of education and employment of young people continued within the framework of panel discussions, which were also chaired by the delegates of our country. Speaking about the role of modern education, Zovinar Vartanyan introduced the academic city created by the government of Armenia to the participants of the conference and touched upon the modern research and innovation significance. I spoke how we designed the academic city by the German architectural organization. I also spoke about the memoranda of cooperation with international universities and told my international colleagues that our government is open to cooperate within the framework of this project. The NA Deputy Taguhi Ghazarian pointed out the draft law on youth policy in her turn. Impressed by the sessions, the Secretary General of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, Martin Chungong, highlighted the role of the legislative body in terms of decision-making and policy development, then greeted in Armenian and referred to our country, emphasized the warm, friendly relations with the NA President Alain Simonian.
Hello, I must say that Armenia is a wonderful country and stands out in terms of supporting young people, including them in various government bodies. I talked about Armenia, I should talk about my good friend Alen Simonyan as well. Let me mention that Mr. Simonyan is actively involved in the Inter-Parliamentary Union and is considered one of the prominent members. I thank the National Assembly of Armenia for hosting the forum participants at a high level.
The Speaker of the Parliament of Mauritius, Adrien Charles Duval, mentioned that the discussed topics were very relevant and considered the structure of the Parliament of our country remarkable.
I am surprised by the fact that the involvement of young parliamentarians in legislative processes is quite high.
According to the Speaker of the Parliament of Tonga, the conference is important from the viewpoint of making the laws more effective.
The result of these comprehensive discussions will be that we act in favor of young people when developing governance mechanisms in each of our countries. Discussions focused on supporting vulnerable groups in terms of employment, education and access to opportunities were of key importance.
After the opening sessions, Alen Simonyan received the President of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, Tulia Aksen, and the Secretary General Martin Chungong already in the National Assembly. The President of the National Assembly proposed to consider the possibility of holding the Conference of Parliamentarians of the Inter-Parliamentary Union in Armenia in the future. At the meeting, reference was made to the Armenian prisoners held in Azerbaijan, and other issues of cooperation were discussed. After the ceremonial meeting, the delegates representing different countries took part in the outdoor reception organized in the NA Park. Parallel to the two-day conference, the Vice President of the National Assembly, the delegate of our country to the Inter-Parliamentary Union, Hako Parshakyan, had meetings with the delegations of the member countries of the structure. The focus was on bilateral relations and the expansion of cooperation. The member of the IPU board of the Forum of Young Parliamentarians, Hasmik Hakopian, and the MP Vahagan Alexanyan met with the delegation of the State of Qatar. Among other topics, regional developments were addressed. The Armenian side presented the ongoing negotiations on the peace treaty with Azerbaijan. The Armenian delegation of the Inter-Parliamentary Union includes 8 members, including 3 opposition MPs, and all 3 MPs were notified about the conference. They had the opportunity to register. They were sent all the documents to be discussed here. None of them were interested. I attach great importance to them also having the opportunity to speak about the violated rights of our compatriots who were forcibly displaced from Nagorno-Karabakh, because as you know, we use all the platforms and it should have been a good opportunity for them as well. Of course, I use this occasion to talk about the rights of our compatriots forcibly displaced from Nagorno-Karabakh and the solutions we found in case of their violated rights. I presented the government programs as well. At the end of the two-day sessions, the President of the Republic also addressed the parliamentarians. Your involvement in decision-making and determination to lead are important in shaping a progressive society, Vahagan Khachaturian stressed.
Your voice, ideas and ambitions shape our future. As young parliamentarians, you have a unique opportunity to stipulate the aspirations in the legislative format.
The NA president based his final speech on the impressions he gathered from the sessions. Alen Simonyan expressed his gratitude with undisguised admiration to all the participants for the interesting discussions and called on his young colleagues to act with confidence.
You just need to think out of the box and be confident that you can do everything. The velvet non-violent revolution of the Republic of Armenia and the entire history of recent years are the biggest proof that nothing is impossible and everything was done, is being done and will be done with the direct participation of the youth.
The 10th Global Conference of Young Parliamentarians ended its work with the adoption of the document. The President of the Inter-Parliamentary Union, Tulia Aksen, confirmed it is necessary to empower the youth and build a stable and inclusive society.